Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start the last chapter of Essay 2, that is chapter number 36, the Itikaf. First of all, we will learn about the meaning of Itikaf. Itikaf literally means staying in a place. In Sharia, it is staying in a mosque for a certain number of days, especially the last 10 days of Ramadan. So, the meaning of itikaf is staying in a particular place. According to our Sharia, itikaf is a staying in a mosque, means masjid, for a certain number of days. Especially, it is performing in the last 10 days of Ramadan. It was the practice of our Prophet ﷺ. He used to spend several days and nights during the Ramadan in the masjid, devoting himself to prayer and meditation to the exclusion of all worldly activities. If you stay in a masjid for 10 days or 3 days, then for days and night, then you can't do any work outside the masjid. So that's why our Prophet ﷺ used to stay in itikaf to, for the exclusion of worldly activities. It is recognized as sunnah of our Prophet ﷺ. The main purpose of itikaf is to schedule oneself from the worldly activities, seclude oneself from all worldly activities, and devote one's whole time and energy to the remembrance of Allah, so that we can remember Allah for whole day and whole night. That is the practice. Basically, itikaf has two types. One is sunnah, second is obligatory wajib. The sunnah itikaf. Allah's messenger used to observe itikaf during the last 10 days of every Ramadan. But in the year in which he died, he observed it for 20 days, report Abu Huraira al-Bukhari. Our Prophet ﷺ used to stay last 10 days of Ramadan at masjid. But when the last year, when our Prophet ﷺ died, in that year he stayed 20 days in masjid. According to some jurists, there is no fixed period of time for sunnah itikaf. For sunnah itikaf, there is no time bound. Whenever you comes to masjid, if you do niyah that when the time how much I will stay in the masjid, I will be in the itikaf. So you will get the sawab of itikaf. It is nawafil itikaf. Sunnah muakkada, that is also wajib, you can call. According to Abu Hanifa radiallahu ta'ala anhu, sunnah muakkida in Ramadan, the itikaf of the last 10 days of itikaf is the sunnah muakkida, sunnatul muakkida. And instead sunnah of the Prophet, it is sunnah kafiyah also. This means that the collective, if on from your village, if only one person goes to itikaf, then everyone's itikaf will be over. If no one goes to the itikaf, then everyone will get sin. Everyone will be liable for this. Itikaf can be observed in any part of the year, but it should be preferably observed while fasting in the last 10 days of Ramadan. Now, obligatory wajib. If person makes a vow to observe itikaf for Allah, if he would succeed in an affair of life, etc., he will be obliged to be perform this vow. Suppose now you vow that you decided that if I get first position in the class, or if I get 80% marks, then I will do 3 days itikaf or 1 day itikaf. Then it is wajib, obligatory. You have to perform it. Do you understand? If you do niyah for etikaf for any purpose, then it will be wajib for you. Condition of etikaf, there are several conditions of etikaf are there. The niyah, to be in a state of purity, staying in the mosque, staying mosque. Three. First one, niyah, niyat. Second one, to be in a state of purity. You have to be pure, you have to be clean, you have without najas, staying in the mosque. You have to stay in the mosque, you can't go to your home. Next, commendable things during the itikaf. What you will do to recite the Quran, to develop an insight into its meaning. You have to recite the Quran and try to understand its meaning, to engage yourself in the tasbih, talil, tamjid. Beside this, the third one is to learn or to import religious knowledge. You have to discuss about the religious knowledge, about the knowledge of Islam, about masalas. All these things you can learn. Permissible things during itikaf. It is permissible to leave one's place of itikaf to relieve yourself and for the purpose of purification or for any lawful needs. You can release your place for the purpose of purification, that means wudu, or istinja, or for urinal, anything for needs. You can leave your place, it is lawful. Second one, to leave for Salatul Jum'ah if it is not held in the mosque where one is observing itikaf. Nowadays, in every masjid there is Salatul Jum'ah is performing, but at the time there were so many masjids which were not performing Jum'ah. So you can leave for this. Third one is the person observing itikaf may eat, drink, and sleep in the mosque. In masjid you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't sleep, but if you are in itikaf, then you can sleep, you can eat, you can drink in the mosque. Now one more important thing I want to tell you. Now if you are for any purpose you are staying in the masjid, so if you need to drink a little water, then you have to do niyah of itikaf. Itikafর নিয়ত করতে লাগবো. Even if you want to do iftar inside the masjid, then also you have to do the niyah of itikaf. Things that nullify the itikaf, যেগুলো জিনিসে ইতিকাফের নষ্ট করিলে এগুলো হইল নাম্বার 1, লিভিং দ্য মস্ক ইন্টেনশনালি উইদাউট এনি জেনুইন নিডস. Without any genuine needs, if you comes out from the masjid, then it will destroy your itikaf. Conjugal relations, you can't do sexual relations inside the masjid. Third one, loss of ritual purity by menstruation or in case of women. That is not happening commonly. If you are in menstruation for women, you can't stay in the itikaf. Itikaf in fulfillment of a vow. If a person make vow that he would perform itikaf in one of these mosques, Al-Masjid al-Haram, Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, he will be obliged to fulfill his vow. That is very important. Don't go if it is impossible for you. Suppose তুমি যদি নিয়ত করো যে আমি মসজিদে হারামে গিয়ে ইতিকাফ করব and you don't have money, then it will be stay wajib for you. এটা তোমার লাগি সারা জীবন করে ওয়াজিব হইয়া রই যাইব গিয়া. সো ওরকম আমরা নিয়ত করবো যে যতক্ষণ আমরা সাধ্যর ভিতরে থাকে, যতক্ষণ আমরা পারি. That's why the important point comes here. So up to that much is your complete class today's, and some question I have given, but whatever I have not given, যেগুলো আমি দিছি না তোমাদের কোয়েশ্চেন, এগুলো তুমি তাই ওখানে সবটার আনসার দেওয়া আছে. সাপোজ আই এম গিভিং ইউ ওয়ান এক্সাম্পল, হোয়াট আর দ্য কমেন্ডেবল থিংস ইন ইতিকাফ. I have not given you this answer. Commendable things during the itikafs are হইয়া এগুলা লিখিয়ে আমার তুমি দেন আনসারটা দিয়ে দিবা। দ্যাট ইজ ইয়োর হোমওয়ার্ক question. I hope all of you get the notes. So whatever I have not given, you have to write those answers from this chapter, and it is very easy in this chapter, and send it to my WhatsApp number. I will check it. ওকে, এখানের কোনো আনসার আমি ছাড়িয়েছি না, কয়েকটা মানে আমি জাস্ট কয়েকটা আমি আনসার করে দিয়া দিছি, আর যেগুলো দিছি না ওগুলো তুমি তো নিজে লিখবা, লিখিয়ে আমার দিয়ে দিবা। থ্যাংক ইউ ফর অ্যাটেন্ডিং দ্য ক্লাস।